Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is health, cancer specifically, and Dr. Oz. So I'm reading an article here from the MarcoIslandFlorida.com. And this article was in several other places, but this just happens to be where I'm reading it at right now. And it says, Dr. Oz, nope, cancer isn't just bad luck. So it's amazing how many people think that we're born with compromised immune systems, that we have these genetics that we're just going to get it, and that we're sick and fat and obese and we have cancer and we have heart disease because it's genetic and that we're doomed to have it. And this is what people think. They actually think this. They don't. So it gives them an excuse to say, well, lifestyle isn't what's doing it. It's not me eating those fried chicken wings. It's not me eating all that cheese. It's not me eating those potato chips. It's actually in my genetics. So there's nothing I can really do. I see a lot of people just throw their hands up. Oh, my doctor says there's nothing I can do. I'm going to have heart disease the rest of my life. I'm going to get cancer, so I have to start taking these pills. I'm going to get breast cancer. So, I mean, look at Angela Jolie, and I've heard of local women getting mastectomies because their mother had breast cancer. And they said, well, you could possibly be getting breast cancer too. And it's like so ludicrous that people just go through these extreme medical practices. They go through a low quality of life on all these drugs and then eat like crap and have no clue what they're doing. So let's start with this article. So a new cancer study is stirring up good controversy as cancer experts around the world rush to set the record straight about misleading headlines saying cancer, just bad luck. The accurate good news message: at least half of all cancers can be avoided with do-it-yourself steps like watching your weight and getting the right tests and not smoking. The flap started on New Year's Day with a Johns Hopkins University study that tried to explain why some body parts are more cancer prone than other body parts, because certain body parts, the cells reproduce at a much quicker rate, which is why in laboratory tests they use rats, because rats have quicker life cycles than we do. Well, of course, most animals have quicker life cycles than we do. So rats are the easiest ones to test because supposedly there is some correlation between a rat and humans is why they test rats. A lot of other animals that they could test too, but rats are the chosen test. So you always hear about laboratory rats. So rats go through generations much quicker because cancers and heart disease and everything, it's just abuse. We do this by abusing ourselves over a lifetime, by smoking for 30, 40 years, by eating bad foods for 30 or 40 years, by being in an environment like whether it's like black mold or some kind of toxin. You get them over here. You don't wake up the next day feeling the effects of that little dose of toxic food or cigarette that you had the day before. It's a cumulative effect as it goes on. If you did wake up the next day, with heart disease, you could say, well, I'm going to stop eating what I'm eating, and there's the direct correlation. But people don't think there's a correlation because it just takes so long. And then by the time they get it, when they're in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s, like, oh, I've lived a good life and this and that, and they're just giving up. And it's a shame because it's all about the lifestyle. Sure, we may have genes. Now, I listen to a lot of Gary Null. If you don't know who Gary Null is, N-U-L-L, go to his website. ProgressiveRadio.com is a great resource. Check him out there. He's been doing a health and nutrition radio show for, almost 40 years, I want to say. One of the pioneers in the industry. Does a lot of free public services for people, for groups, communities. Does a lot of public speaking. Has a lot of documentaries, about 100 books he's written, and some really hardcore documentaries on health, nutrition, and politics. I don't want to bring politics into this particular blog, but he covers a lot of different topics and very well educated. And he lists a lot of different studies. Now, he claims that less than 10% is actually genetics. He's saying something like 2%, 5% is what he actually claims, if you listen to him, is actually genetics. So at that point, okay, so you might have genes that are doing, that may be expressing, he explains it, but then you're bombarding it with further toxins, like those daily cheeseburgers and fried foods and all these other things. So the expression's going to come out quicker. So it's really the environment. A lot of other doctors that I've read their books on and that I've followed and listened to say that cancer is a toxicity. A part of your body's toxic. So certain body parts where the cells reproduce quicker are the parts that are more prone to cancer because they're going through more generations quicker. Does that make sense? So that's exactly what the article says here too as I started reading into it more. So Smart lifestyle change. They want you to do smart lifestyle choices, avoid foods with added sugars, syrups, and walking regularly, they're saying. And top cancer experts are shouting that you can make a difference. Message to the world, so here you are, and we say you can prevent and help control cancer. So these doctors are coming out and saying, yes, you can. But of course, the pharmaceutical companies are never going to come out and say, yes, you can, because they have a drug for you. They have an operation, they have a procedure, they have a mastectomy for you. They have something for you that's going to make them money. And of course, chemotherapy is the ultimate money maker for doctors, for oncologists. They buy the drugs directly. They'll pay $5 grand for them, and then they'll resell them to their patients for 12 grand, 15 grand, 9 grand. They make a boatload of money, boatload of money. So you can't go to your oncologist or your doctor and say, hey, I want to make big changes, because they're profiting directly from selling chemotherapy. And they're profiting indirectly from selling all these other drugs. But chemotherapy is that one drug where they're actually the reseller of it. They're not the pharmacy, they're the reseller. They buy it wholesale and resell it. And your insurance pays it, so you'd have no clue and you wouldn't question it. Okay? If you can't afford insurance, somewhere along the line, the system's going to pick up a major bill like that, or you're going to file bankruptcy, right? Nobody really forks over 200 grand, right, for cancer drugs and procedures, right? That's something an American couldn't afford to do, to fork over 200 grand to do that. So at somewhere, the pharmaceutical company gets paid. At somewhere, the doctor gets paid. So don't go to your doctor for advice on how to avoid cancer or heart disease, because they're not in that. They weren't trained for that. They were trained by pharmaceutical companies that are trained to administer medicine. And then their ongoing education is actually pharmaceutical reps that visit their office on a regular basis and say, guess what? We have a new drug. Guess what? There's a new condition out there. Or guess what? We're sponsoring a seminar on a boat, on a cruise ship, in the Bahamas. Why? Can you attend for 7 days and we can put you into a seminar for one afternoon and show you what the new treatments are for this so-called new disorder or this current disorder? And of course, the rest is leisure, right? So that might not be the exact breakdown, but that's how it goes. They're getting something for buying, and the pharmaceutical reps, the pharmaceutical companies have a lot to offer to get their attention financially, okay? So that's how that works. So don't go to your doctor and say, I want to lose weight, because I went to my doctor in Colorado in 98, 99, and 2000, I'm like, I need to lose weight. And he's like, you're fine. I'm tipping 240 pounds at 6 feet with my cholesterol 225, 230. He's like saying, I'm fine, right? But here's the cholesterol meds is what he's telling me. You need this, you need that, you have this, you have that. And so that's why you don't go to them. So, don't smoke. Nearly all lung cancer would be prevented if nobody smoked, noted one Harvard public health dean in a Boston Globe op-ed about the study. If you've tried to quit before, try again and try again and try again. Talk with your doctor about about crave stop medications, nicotine replacement products, and counseling. Next on the list here, watch your weight. Eat great proteins. Maintaining a healthy diet can cut your risk of cancer of the esophagus, pancreas, colon, rectum, lining of the uterus, kidneys, breasts, ovaries, prostate, and gallbladder, okay? Let's see what kind of proteins they're recommending. So avoid deli meats, great, because it's processed with added nitrates, and deli meats are so high in fat, really high in fat, because that's a lot of times that can be the preservative in some of these charcuterie or sausages or deli items. When you get into the salamis and things like that, you see those globules of fat in there. That's pure fat. So that thing's like 80%, 90% fat by caloric intake. And there's not much protein in there. It's all fat. Eating more healthy proteins such as fish, skinless chicken, turkey breast, beans, and nuts. I like the beans and nuts. But here's the thing people need to understand. Protein isn't everything. You get a small, medium-sized cantaloupe, that has 7 grams of protein, right? That's an awesome amount of protein. You don't need much protein to actually suffice your body. Men need, I've heard, 55 grams, women 45 grams. Well, if one cantaloupe is 7 grams and you have that for breakfast, I mean, think about it. All the stuff you're going to be eating during the day, and the cantaloupe is not that high in protein to begin with compared to other things. So you're going to get plenty of protein. My diet, which is mostly carbohydrates, I do some beans, do a lot of rice, I do a lot of potatoes, but I do sweet potatoes, Yukon potatoes, red potatoes, fingerling potatoes, do a bunch of different kinds of potatoes. I mix in some grains. I eat more than 55 grams a day easily on a strict vegetarian, vegan diet, actually. Vegan diet where it has a high amount of fruits. I eat like 10, 15 bananas a day sometimes. And sometimes that's all I'll have is just fruit all day with some greens. And I have no problem meeting my requirements on fruit and greens like spinach. easily obtainable without adding powdered supplements and things like that. So there's a lot of studies out there that's saying that eating meat actually increases your chances of prostate cancer, colon cancer, things like that. There's a lot of things. And if you go to Gary Null's program, he has a great cancer protocols. It's going to be a strict vegan, plant-based diet. That's just the way it is. A lot of other practitioners out there that are making leaps and strides, doctors that are healing people, are also abiding to a strict vegan, plant-based diet to heal cancer. Eating that meats, they say, is very detrimental to cancer, to the acidic buildup and to the slow digestion, and it's not good all around. So if you consume more than 4 ounces of red meat or 1 egg yolk a week or a combo, your gut bacteria can produce thymine, which with liver turns into inflammatory compounds. So okay, so they're saying, slow down on that. Get the tests you need: mammograms, pelvic exams, colon checks, skin screening, prostate cancer. You have to understand, when you go for these tests are formulated so they can make money on. Okay, they're formulated so they can have early detection. They're formulated so they can. These are money-making machines. So they're going to recommend that you get these tests probably more often than you need to. And I'm not a medical doctor, but from what I've read from a lot of these other alternative medical doctors, that they give tests way too much. And I've even read that mammograms are totally useless. I've read a lot of medical doctors that say totally useless. So, in fact, the radiation coming out of a mammogram is enough to give you cancer or compound to cancer. So it's really weird because they're trying to do these things that might be a detriment to you anyway. But you have to understand, these are money-making things that they want you to do. I'm not saying don't go get tests, because you have to consult somebody who you trust and figure that out for yourself and make your own decisions. But I'm just saying that a lot of these tests are there for a reason. These tests are not a public service. And even if these tests are for free out there somewhere, the pharmaceutical company, the maker, is still getting paid. It's another company that is actually fronting the bill. So it's never a public service. It's never a public service being offered by the manufacturers, by the drug companies, by Merck, or these companies they're not in it for the public service. They're in it to make money. They're in it to make an insane amount of money. And then the last thing is here, say yes to cancer vaccines. The HPV vaccine, I've listened to both sides of this, and I got to tell you, there's some doctors out there that are telling you to listen to Susan Humphrey. She's one of them. But there are some doctors out there that have phenomenal websites that list out the stats saying that you have far less of a chance of getting the cancer than the side effects you're going to get from the HPV vaccine, and what a scam it is and this and that. I mean, they go all out and really throw up some hard information on that. So another thing on that is you'd have to wonder why ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, which is formed by the top 500 companies, 600, 300 companies in America, whatever it is, who's ever a member at the time can pay to be a member. And what they do is they go in and write legislation. They're not lobbyists. They write legislation and hand it off to our state representatives, and our state representatives just sign off on it. And again, the state reps get paid very well to do this. They get kickbacks. They get their kids' college tuitions paid for. They get some kind of a reward for signing up with ALEC and getting ALEC's bills that they write, which is written by the companies. So for instance, in California, they passed a law where a 12-year-old girl, it's not like this in a lot of states, where a 12-year-old girl can go get the HPV vaccine without parental consent. And it was just passed in the law like it's nothing. I'm sorry, parents, your 12-year-old is not old enough to make that decision yet. She's not old enough, she's not well educated enough. She's been into a school that is basically, I mean, a lot of schools are just, their agendas are set up by their sponsors, okay? So if the dairy industry is sponsoring a school for a health class or books, if they're helping publish a book and can contribute to a book or contribute to the food pyramid, they're going to give you their products to sell. So it's a very biased system to begin with. So a 12-year-old cannot decipher from that, okay? So having your 12-year-old make the decision is not a good option. You can thank ALEC for that. So and ALEC they are the biggest corporations in America, and you guarantee that the pharmaceutical companies are involved in ALEC. So they're passing laws behind your back to get this vaccine. So why are they so anxious to get this vaccine? If this vaccine was so wonderful, people would be lined up for it left and right. When you get a vaccine, And a lot of people say to me, oh, my doctor's so honest with me, Marcus, about vaccines. They take the time to share the side effects. That's BS. If your doctor took out the sheet folds into many pages and went down the whole list of side effects, you'd be in your doctor's office for well over an hour to 2 hours. And if you have a legitimate question to ask your doctor, you could be there 3-4 hours trying to get through everything. And I guarantee you, your doctor's not doing that for you. He's not. She's not. They're not paid to do that. They're paid to administer the vaccines. They're paid to fluff them and say, oh yeah, there might be some side effects, but nothing, you know. First of all, the FDA themselves admit that less than 10% of side effects are actually reported. Okay, many of the side effects don't go unreported until a year after when they're null and void, but there's a special court set up for vaccine damages, and they give out billions and billions of dollars, which the pharmaceutical companies don't have to be liable for. The government pays that, so our tax dollars pays those families that have damaged in family members that from vaccines. So that's how it works. So the pharmaceutical company is not there for a public service. They don't have any consequences liability for vaccines. They're inadequately safety tested. And they admit on the package, on the label, all the side effects. But your doctor, I can guarantee you, is not talking to you that. If your doctor does, you need to have really a two-way conversation and say, well, you need to prove this to me that it's safe. You need to show me more evidence. And you need to do work as a parent to say, well, I've done my work, and here's what I found, doc. So please have a legitimate conversation with me so we can break this down and decide if this is the best thing. And if your doctor says, well, you have to have it, and this is what has to go, and this, you have to have chemo, that doctor's probably not for you. I always say, don't get a second opinion, get a different opinion. So yes, cancer, heart disease, all these things, Dr. Oz is right. I agree with him this time. It's lifestyle, 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 lifestyle. Make the right choices. The right choices you make today, and it's sad because I see my parents and I see family members that have aged, and it's just like, wow, you know, you've gone through years and years of abusing yourself, and now your quality of life has diminished. And when you're older, it's the most important time in your life, when you have grandkids, and when you're retired, you want to be able to enjoy retirement. But again, these people still keep making the same decisions with their fork that got them there in the first place. I told a story the other day how my father was drinking soda. He won't eat bananas because they have too much sugar in them, but yet he's willing to drink soda, of all things. You're only smart until you're stupid. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.
Right, I can't stop it tonight. This epidemic, I'm trying to fight. Blood pressure's rising.